1, 2.
Okay, here we go.
Hello, my name is Greg Davis and I'm with CBS ArcSafe. I'd like to welcome you to our holiday presentation on RRS-3 products, single-use tools for remote racking of circuit breakers. If you have questions, remember to call us at 1-877-472-3389 or you can send an email to info@cbsarcsafe.com. When I first started doing this 12 years ago, I had no idea the challenges that you, the electrical operators, had to face. I can tell you we ran into places where you'd have to go up a spiral staircase in a paper mill to get to a lineup. Or you might have just a single type of circuit breaker you needed to rack. Because you, the customer, demanded it, we developed several tools for single-use items. The ones we're going to show you today are for the Westinghouse DHP, the Powell vac, and for the Siemens RL breaker. The one we're going to start with here is the newest one we've done. It's a trolley-based version for the DHP circuit breakers. It doesn't require that much space to set up and to be able to operate. You take your tool from here. You're going to place it onto your DHP circuit breaker. Okay. Then we have to line up our motor with the tool to set up and operate. Now, some of the things about a DHP breaker that you may not know if you're not familiar with it, this breaker free spins going in and going out. So when it goes all the way in, it doesn't really reach a torque limit, so to speak, and it doesn't do the same when it comes out either. So those are some things in terms of it'll just go click, 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 and that's the end of the racking operation. Let's see. We're using our RS-4 setup for the power and control console for this. With the standard RS-4, you have the ability to do this from 100 meters away. If you need a video system to be able to monitor this, you can do that. We have separate video systems to be able to do that. I've seen cement plants with lineups that you have to be almost 100 meters away to do stuff. So for our purpose, for the DHP breaker, we're going to turn this on. And I'm using the radio remote now, so you'll be able to see that that's what's active right now. We're going to check our settings on our current control module. They're supposed to be 18 and 8. So let's see what we've got for remove. Our install is 18 and remove is 8. So we are ready to rack this circuit breaker. The trolley will walk back and forth automatically with the circuit breaker as it goes in and goes out. As you can see, we're only using about 3.5 feet of setup space, so it's just a little bit more than the angle of the door to open, and that's a reduction from an RRS-1, which we'd normally ask for about 4 feet of space to be able to set one up. So at this point, while I'm sitting here, we could actually be way out in the parking lot and do this. The circuit breaker is currently installed, so we're just going to hit the remove button once. Wait, we are installing. I'm sorry. We are installing, and that's my mistake. Off after 1 minute, and now we're going to remove the circuit breaker. Hold on a second, I've got to reinitialize it. Give me just a second. There we go. There we go. That first little bump there was the circuit breaker coming off the bus. You could hear the slight change in the sound. That's the shutters have gone closed, and now it's going to finish timing out after 1 minute. And that's the completion of the operation. One of the first places I sold an RRS-1 to many years ago told me that because they started using remote racking, they weren't breaking the shutters in the DHP cubicles anymore from people trying to rack through the shutters. So the torque limits that we set up on this thing, we set up to help protect both you and the switchgear. We don't want to try and damage anything. More torque is not the answer for these things. If the system shuts off because it runs into a torque issue, remember, it's trying to tell you the cubicle needs maintenance, and you need to be able to address that maintenance issue. The next circuit breaker we're going to work with is going to be the PAL vac. Let me just quickly take this off of here real quick. And things to remember, Brian, the slide. Today's presentation was involving a giveaway, and I need you all to make sure that you're registered on Eventbrite and email us within 72 hours from this time of this presentation, and put it to admin@cbsarcsafe.com. The message is home of the chicken switch. And like I said, admin@cbsarcsafe.com, and the message is home of the chicken switch. That needs to be what's in your email. Please include your contact information, so if you're the one who wins, we can make sure we mail the award to you. Thank you. The next one we're going to deal with is the PAL vac. Now the PAL vac is an interesting circuit breaker because it takes a three-handed monkey to be able to install anything on here to remotely rack or to basically rack it out. So we use a trip defeat actuator to go onto the trip button to automatically push that in. So now we're down to having two hands free to be able to get the racking mechanism exposed and to put our RRS-3 onto the circuit breaker. That's what makes that so easy. So we can use the same RSO4 for this application, but I need to change the settings now to 5.7 and 5.4. So let me get that fixed real quick. Some of the things to talk about with a PAL vac is the factory provided mechanism can act like a impact gun on your racking mechanism. If you have to go click, click, click on that thing, what you're going to find is it's going to hurt your racking mechanism. We work to set the torque limits on this so that we try not to hurt your racking mechanism. If you have wear and tear in the racking mechanism, and I did a demonstration the first year I was doing this. One of the things I want to point out is that on here you have your breaker connected indicator, and I don't know if you can see that or not, Brian, on your camera, but it shows test, disconnect, and breaker connected. And if you have wear and tear in this racking mechanism, the demonstration I did the first year, I could tell that because the word connected wasn't centered in the picture, the breaker wasn't going to operate properly. And I had to help the operators in a power plant figure that out. And once they saw that it was a wear and tear issue in their breaker, then they learned that, you know, maintenance is something that's going to appear in different ways. So with this system, again, we've got this reset. The breaker is currently in the connected position. So let me step out of the way, and I'm simply going to push the remove button. You can hear the shutters closing right now. Okay. Now we're set to install. Okay, yep. This breaker racks via cam lobe system, so the cam has to engage, and then once the cam starts to engage, that's when the breaker actually moves. So that's why you see it turn about 4 or 5 turns at the start before that cam really starts making its action and bringing the breaker in. The strobe light here is to let you know the operation is completed. So now we'll hit the stop button and turn that off. And when just real quick, I'm going to take this off of the circuit breaker now and just show what I mean about the difficulty of trying to do this. Because right now, if I didn't have this defeat that we have here, I have to be able to push that, hold this down, and then put this on at the same time. So that's one of the things when our little latch defeat here gives you great benefit for being able to install this and just use 2 hands to do so. I'm going to set this to the side and we're going to move on to the Siemens RL breaker. If you have questions, again, don't be afraid to email us at info@cbsarcsafe.com or call us at 1-877-472-3389. That's a different email address than the one for the giveaway that's involved today, which is admin@cbsarcsafe.com with the message home of the chicken switch. So there's two different email addresses. We'll work to answer you either way, but the giveaway is at the admin address, while normal product questions are at the info address. The secret phrase again that needs to be in your email is home of the chicken switch. Thank you. Now, the Siemens RL breaker is a common breaker. Siemens, when they first got into the low voltage world, they bought up Allis-Chalmers, and the Allis-Chalmers breakers were the LA frames that had the gold and silver and gray faces. Not the first generation of LA, like an LA25, LA50, LA75, LA100, but the LA3000, the LA800, LA1600, LA2000, that series. And when Siemens converted that over, they changed it into their style of the RL breaker. Now, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put it on for you all to be able to see how this works. This uses a spring tensioner on the right side that you have to pull forward and engage. And then to get this out, you drop it down, lift it up, and pull out. And so our patented design here allows us to go in and engage and just use the simple part of the racking mechanism here to latch onto it to be able to operate. So to go in, I come in, drop down, come up, and then I go onto the racking mechanism and I engage our spring tensioner on the side, and then I can step back and use the control console. Now, the same as with the DSR-1 and also the one for the Magnum DS, you have to hold down the enable and in and out breaker operations during the entire time that you're doing this. So I'm going to hold down the, first we'll turn the power on. We're going to hold down the enable. The breaker's in right now. And we're going to hold down the out button and bring the breaker out. Okay, you can see the circuit breakers all the way out. You can also see that the racking mechanism has changed quite an angle as it's gone out. Now, just due to a cubicle limitation for us, I need to just push it slightly, just a little bit, to make sure that it's going in. I'm pretty sure that I'm still there. So I can now hold down the enable button, and while you can't see it, I don't think, if you watch this part, it's got the little indicator on the side of the breaker. Let me see. I think it's in. You think it's out? Let me take a look here.
I think it's come all the way out.
Hmm?
It's okay though. It's still
Which part do you think is?
you have to come all the way out and then hold it in. So you have to hold that
Hold or move?
all the way out.
There, I see what you're saying. Right here's the indicator that you can't see from the normal camera, but it's available on the display here to watch the progress of the racking mechanism. And that's the operation of the RRS-3 RL-R1. Again, if you have questions on today's presentation, you can call us at 1-877-472-3389 or email us at info@cbsarcsafe.com. For the holiday giveaway, remember the catchphrase is home of the chicken switch, and you need to use the email address admin@cbsarcsafe.com. You have 72 hours from the time of our presentation today for that. I'd like to thank you all again, and everybody please have a safe holiday. Any questions, Ben?
No questions. We'll give it 30 seconds for questions.
Okay.